Hi, I have literally this very minute finished watching the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, released on Netflix yesterday. If you're watching this today, this dropped. Um, the series has been through a lot of iterations over the years. The original four movies released up to, I think, 1994, one of which I previously reviewed on this channel. There was a remake with a prequel, a direct sequel to the original, a direct prequel to the original, and now another direct sequel to the original, ignoring all the previous sequels. It's had a very troubled production. The original directors were fired partway through shooting, and all their footage was scrapped. The script was heavily rewritten. It had bad test screenings, which the production claims didn't happen, and it's skipped a cinema release and has wound up on Netflix. My history with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that I think the first two films are absolutely terrible. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is the worst film I've ever seen, hands down. I've gone into that elsewhere. But this film challenges it. It's moronically shitty. It's extremely short, which is not in and of itself a bad film, but it stretches things out. It's an hour and a quarter without credits, and then there are 6 minutes of credits tagged on to the end. And it's about a group of people who travel to a ghost town in Texas, intending to sell it off, gentrify it, and turn it into a Williamsburg for the South. However, there is one resident still in the town, an old woman who owns a orphanage, and her one remaining child in her care, who is an adult or something, who is in fact Leatherface, although we're not told this until later in the movie. Meanwhile, Sally Hardesty, the final girl of the original movie, originally played by Marilyn Burns, who has since passed away, so the role has been recast, has spent the last 50 years looking for Leatherface to become a Texas Ranger, and in a plot line that is entirely not ripped off from the Halloween reset, gets involved in the movie, is in it for 5 minutes before getting cut in half. I'm doing you a favour by giving you spoilers. Um, so there are various characters running around. We get discussions, I mean, not exactly discussions, but it touches on cancel culture firstly in a way that is sort of makes sense because a black character sees one building hanging a Confederate flag, which obviously is unacceptable, but that leads to a whole thing. And then later, characters on a party bus film Leatherface don't try to cancel him before he lays into them with a chainsaw, and that is just fucking stupid. It's incredibly poorly written and directed. The characters are incredibly thin and poorly thought out. It's very poorly directed. It's very poorly edited. My attention was wandering all the way through. Sometimes it's hard to see what's even going on in a scene. There is no subtlety. There's no attempt at tension or character building. Leatherface, a potentially great character, is reduced to just being a bogeyman running around with a chainsaw. It's just a load of empty nothing. It's empty calories of a movie. Um, so poorly made, so pointless. It's almost like one of those films, one of those ashcan copies, like the early 90s Fantastic Four movie that was made solely so that the rights holders didn't have to give them back to the studio. This feels like a movie made solely so that the people who own the rights can keep their claws on them whilst chasing some fantasy that they'll make a great version sometime in the future. The sad thing is there is the potential for a great Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. Even if I dismiss the first two, I think there is a potential for a great film there. But many people have tried and failed. I keep watching these movies. Will I never learn?